Fowler and McManaman on Liverpool's real title chances and what Reds fans need to do. Liverpool's Premier League title challenge may not be reaching a critical point, but already the nerves are jangling among sections of the Reds support, at any rate. Jurgen Klopp's side have dropped 4 points in their last 2 games and were knocked off the top of the table for the first time in almost 2 months in midweek. With 13 games remaining, Liverpool can re-establish a 3-point lead on Manchester City with victory at home to Bournemouth on Saturday. A group of Anfield greats, well versed in the unique pressures of a title run-in and challenging for silverware at the club, were at the academy in Kirkby in midweek to begin preparations for next month's Legends game against AC Milan. And afterwards they discussed what it's like coping with the pressures of representing a trophy-chasing Liverpool side. Owen: I'm not one to go overboard, as you probably know. I think we've been lucky in many ways, as for so many years we've turned up at Anfield expecting amazing performances because 95% of the time we get them. Then you get 1 or 2 okay performances and it's almost like the world ends for a few people. It's not like that at all. If you want to look at form tables, then look at the last 10 games and Liverpool are streets clear of City and Tottenham. Everyone had written the league off a while ago saying City had won it, then Liverpool came back to go 7 points ahead and everyone else was being written off. There is a long way to go. Robbie Fowler: you know what? I don't get it. I really don't get what people are talking about. Liverpool are level on points at the top of the league with a game in hand. There are going to be loads of twists and turns between now and the end of the season. I am someone who always looks for positives. And I think it's important to say that if you'd asked people at the start of the season where you wanted Liverpool to be, you would have taken this all day long. I'm not all for the doom and gloom. I'm for positives, and there are loads of positives. Aldridge: every team goes through a blip. I think you have to look more at the injuries we have had. Right back in particular and central midfield in the last 2 games has not been the midfield that the manager would have wanted to play. It has culminated in 2 poor performances, 2 results that in other years wouldn't be too bad, but with the hype at the moment it seems worse. Alan Kennedy: this team has been at the top very early and, in my day, we used to leave it as late as possible to make a surge at around Easter time. We built up a head of steam then. We said to ourselves after Christmas, every game, we have to win every game. That was the attitude, and I think the players today have a good attitude. Maybe we can look at the last couple of games and say we haven't done quite as well as we would have wanted. But Leicester played with purpose and good organization. Bournemouth is the next game now. Win that. Don't look too far ahead. If you do, then your mind is off the most important game. McManaman: I made my debut in 1990 with everybody who had won it. So at 16, 17 I was with them all the time in the dressing room, traveling to away games, seeing them win trophies, seeing them win titles, not being a part of it but being the 15th or 16th man. I felt as if it was just the norm. This is what we do. It didn't bother me, the pressure of it being 10 games or it being a certain part of the season and needing to get over the line, because I was used to it. I was used to speaking to John Barnes, to Alan Hansen, to Kenny Dalglish, to Roy Evans and Ronnie Moran, who had been through it loads of times. So it was easy for me. This is a different group of players 29 years later. They seem fine and are saying all the right things. They just need a big win. They need to win on Saturday, and as soon as they win it banishes all the talk for another week or whatever, and it puts pressure on the opposition, and then it's up to them. Aldridge: we were under pressure to win every game when I was playing. That season 1987-88, we believed in ourselves, we knew how good we were. We felt we could win every game. We took it in our stride. The camp was at ease. Every day was a good crack. It was just enjoyable to be there. We had so much belief in ourselves. Owen: you don't think about pressure, really? I certainly didn't. When I look back on my career I think, wow, I was the goalscorer for Liverpool and England, playing in World Cups and FA Cup finals. When you look back you realize there was huge pressure. The Prime Minister is probably under the most pressure, but, after that, there is not much more pressure than being a top player at a top club that is going for the title or in a final. Half the bloody world are watching. When you look back, then of course there is pressure, and there is pressure from the outside looking in. I think there must be pressure when I look in now, but not when you are playing in it. This is what you do, this is what you are brilliant at. If you look at all the great sportsmen, such as Tiger Woods with a 6-footer on the last green, you know they are enjoying it and they are thriving on the pressure. In fact, the big game players get better with it. I don't think players are going to bed nervous and thinking there is pressure on them. That is their life. It's not a choice and it is not just happening for one day. They live like this. It works the other way around. When you retire like I have and you don't have that pressure anymore, then you can go a bit dually, because you almost feel you have no purpose in life anymore. That was what everything was about when you were a player. They won't be feeling pressure or losing any sleep about things. Kennedy, if Liverpool win every game they win the league. Simple as that. So that is what their mindset should be. Listen, every game we don't get beat. We don't get beat. We work hard, we make sure we listen to the manager. What he says, we implement that. McManaman, I think it's nonsense, to be honest. I do. I get the fact you have to ask the manager every single game depending on the result of the game. If Liverpool win by 5 at the weekend, then you aren't going to talk about pressure, are you? I think you'd probably find more pressure on a Scouser in there because of the history of the club. But the front three are from different parts of the world. Mo Salah carries his country on his own shoulders. I don't think there's a huge amount of pressure, I really don't. Liverpool will be scrutinized more than Tottenham, Man United will be scrutinized more than another opposition because of their marvelous history. I think that is a consequence, and until they win something it will continue. Jason McAteer, it is similar to what I went through. There is a way of doing it, and once you have done it once, you know what to expect. The last 10 games of the season the pressure is hyped up, and it is like in any sport. If you are a golfer and you are trying to win your first major, going down the stretch with 3 holes to play and you have a 2-shot lead, all kind of thoughts creep into your head. It is human nature. It is elite sport. Fowler, well, if you put it that way with the results, we clearly didn't handle it that well at all. The one thing I would say now is that in football, you can't start thinking too much about the future. You just have to take each game as it comes. You can't worry about the opposition, about ifs and buts. Just go out and play your own game. If you start worrying about everyone else, it will have an adverse reaction on your performance. I don't think anyone wants to see that. Look after number 1. Look after Liverpool. McManaman, it certainly wasn't pressure on my part, and when I looked around the dressing room I don't think it was pressure. I just think probably had a little less quality than the opposition at times in big games. Whether that's pressure or not, I don't know, you'd have to ask the individuals. Will the fact the manager has won titles help? Probably, but I think the players are wise and old enough to know the situation. You don't have to be born and bred in Liverpool to know you're top of the league with a third of the season to go, and what an opportunity it is. They know that, they want to grasp it. Whether they have the quality right at the end is another thing. McAteer, leading from the front is very, very difficult. For me, Coventry and Wimbledon games stick in my mind 22 years later. McManaman, City lost last week at Newcastle. Don't tell me the players weren't inwardly elated that they lost. Of course they were. You do look at opposition's results, definitely. That is normal. You can't be blasé about it because you then have to go out and perform. If you don't perform it comes back to bite you on the ass. McAteer, what people don't understand is there is an advantage for a team playing before you. City have played a couple of times before Liverpool, and in that respect if City lose then Liverpool have felt they need to extend the gap. It is a very difficult time, and these days with social media it is very difficult to escape the pressure. The lads will say they are not talking or thinking about it, but you can't help but do it. It is human nature. The manager is getting asked the question every week because results aren't quite going their way, so it just all plays a part in the pantomime of the run-in. Owen, oh, massively yes. It can almost damage a player. If you're a new signing wanting to get off to a good start and you feel you've given a bad ball away to start with and the fans are disappointed with what they've seen from the first game, and I'm talking about every stadium here, not only Anfield, then it feels like it will take 20 games to redeem yourself. I was at the Leicester game and the one thing I would say is that the fans have got so much sway in how Liverpool are going to finish the season and how they are going to do at Anfield. I felt a nervousness after about 15-20 minutes of the Leicester game. The fans were nervous and it does transmit. The fans are going to be so important on the run-in. As noisy as possible, get behind the team as much as possible, that helps you massively as a player. If it's like that, I feel Anfield could carry Liverpool to the title. If there is nervousness, you feel it as a player and you become scared of giving the ball away instead of not being bothered about making a mistake. You have to be free in your mind. On Saturday, March 23, the LFC Foundation will welcome AC Milan's Legends team, Milan Glory, to Anfield for the third official LFC Foundation Legends game. Tickets for the game are on sale now, priced at £22 for adults, £5 for juniors and £15 for over 65s. For details and to purchase tickets visit here.